Alright guys, we've got some massive Blockbound news to go over today. From huge teasers for Herobrine to big showcases for Entity, reveals about a possible Bloodlust mechanic, and discussions about a block placing system. There's a lot to break down in this one. You definitely don't want to miss it, so let's get right into it. Firstly, I want to talk about some pretty massive teasers we recently got, because these were honestly some of the biggest reveals we've seen in a while. So recently, there was a Make-A-Wish charity stream hosted by Pickett, and Blockbound was actually one of the games participating in the event. One of the really cool things they did during the stream was set up donation goals, and every time a goal was reached, they would reveal a new teaser for the game. And let's just say, the teasers they showed were absolutely insane. I'm gonna go over each of them in order. The first teaser we saw was a Knocker horror mod skin for Herobrine, and along with that, we also got to see one of his abilities in action. This skin is going to come with custom content for pretty much everything, and from what was shown, the quality already looks really high. We got to see the model up close, along with an animation demonstrating one of his moves. If you're familiar with Herobrine's moveset, you could probably tell right away which ability it was. It looked like his third ability, In Your Head. For those who don't know, this move creates a clone that attacks survivors if they get too close, dealing damage and applying the paranoid effect. Seeing this ability animated with the new skin looked amazing, and it's clear a lot of effort is being put into making these skins feel unique. Next, we got to see Entity's outro animation, and alongside that, we also saw Steve's updated design. Since the team has been redesigning all Minecraft-based characters to avoid copyright issues, Steve needed a redesign as well. The outro animation itself looked fantastic, and the voice acting sounded really good from what we heard. As for Steve's new design, it honestly looks great. Herobrine's redesign was somewhat controversial when it was first revealed, but I feel like this one will probably be received much more positively by the community. After that, we were shown Herobrine's Advancement 3 and 4 theme, which is essentially his milestone music. Take a listen. I have to say, it sounds incredible. It's actually pretty rare to hear a track that manages to be both creepy and intense while still sounding really unique, so huge props to the composer for that. Keep in mind though that this is only temporary and will be improved in the future. Finally, the last teaser was something really interesting, a lobby NPC called the Reject. This character can be interacted with in the lobby, and he apparently has different dialogue depending on which survivor you're playing. That honestly sounds really cool, and he seems like a great way to add more personality to the lobby. Overall, these teasers were honestly massive, and probably some of the biggest ones we've gotten so far. You can really tell that a lot of work, creativity, and care are being put into Blockbound right now, and it's exciting to see how everything is coming together. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about all these teasers. Which one are you most excited for? Next, I want to talk about a pretty big Entity teaser that we recently got. So, if you don't know, Entity is one of the killers planned for release, and a while back we saw a few early teasers showing parts of his model and some of his animations. After those reveals though, things went pretty quiet, and we didn't really hear much about how development was going. Recently, however, Zota has finally posted a devlog after about a month of silence, mainly to reassure people that the game is still actively being worked on. Along with that devlog, we got a short teaser showing Entity using one of his abilities. In the teaser, you can see Entity swing his scythe across the ground, followed by a large flaming strike effect. Even though the clip was only a couple of seconds long, the animation itself looked really smooth, and the visual effects and sound design were both impressive. It was a small reveal, but it still gave us a better idea of how the character is shaping up. On its own, this teaser probably wouldn't seem too controversial, but when it was posted on Twitter, it sparked a lot of discussion. The main criticism people had was about the visual effects. Some viewers felt that the effects didn't look Minecraft-like enough, saying that they looked more like something from a battleground-style game rather than fitting the art style people expected. A few people even went as far as saying that the game was losing its art style based on this short clip, which ended up causing quite a bit of controversy. At the same time, there were plenty of people on the other side who disagreed with that criticism. They pointed out that, if you look closely, the effects still clearly take inspiration from Minecraft visuals. The difference is that they seem to be blending that style with higher quality effects, similar to what you see in Minecraft dungeons, which uses a more detailed but still recognizable version of the same aesthetic. Personally, I think some of the reactions were a bit over the top. The effects look great, and keeping everything strictly in the original Minecraft style might actually make the game feel outdated or low quality in comparison to modern games. Blending styles, like what Minecraft Dungeons does, feels like a good compromise that keeps the identity while still improving the effects. Of course, criticism itself isn't a bad thing. Giving feedback can help developers improve their work. But in this case, a lot of the comments weren't really constructive. They were just negative for the sake of it, and that doesn't really help anyone. It's also worth remembering that this was only a 2-second teaser, and things can still change during development. We've seen plenty of games adjust things before release. Overall, I think the teaser looked promising, and it's good to see more progress being shown again. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you like the direction they're taking with Entity's effects, or do you think they should lean more into the classic Minecraft style? Next, I want to talk about something really big that we recently heard about regarding looping in Blockbound. So, I'm sure most of you know what looping is. Some players enjoy it, while others really dislike it because it can drag out matches and make killers feel powerless. Personally, I think it can be unhealthy for gameplay if it becomes too strong or too easy to abuse. Recently, someone asked Zoters about looping in the Discord, and he gave a pretty interesting answer. He said that the team is planning to implement something similar to Dead by Daylight's Bloodlust system. For those who don't know, Bloodlust is a mechanic where the longer a killer stays in a chase, the more speed they gradually gain. The idea is to prevent situations where survivors can endlessly loop a killer around the same obstacle for an entire round. Naturally, this sparked a lot of discussion, especially on Twitter, and reactions have been pretty mixed. One side is concerned that this change could make the game too killer-sided, arguing that survivors might struggle to escape once the speed boost starts building up. On the other hand, many players have pointed out that survivors would still have ways to deal with this. For example, they could stun the killer to reset the chase or work together with teammates to help each other escape. Mechanics like this can actually encourage healthier gameplay since they reward teamwork and smart use of abilities rather than just running in circles. In fact, a large portion of the community seems to be supportive of this idea. A lot of players feel that this kind of system would help killers feel more like true power roles, rather than feeling weak against simple looping strategies. Instead of matches being decided by how long someone can run around a table, gameplay would rely more on positioning, abilities, and teamwork. Of course, it's important to remember that this doesn't mean killers would suddenly become overpowered. It's unlikely that the speed boost would be extreme. More realistically, it would probably start as a small increase that gradually ramps up over time, just enough to prevent chases from lasting forever. If implemented well, this system could make chases more fun and keep matches moving at a better pace, while still leaving room for skill on both sides. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this feature. Do you think something like Bloodlust would improve the game, or do you think looping should stay the way it is? Lastly, I want to talk about some interesting information regarding a possible block placing mechanic that could be coming to Blockbound. Since the game is heavily inspired by Minecraft, mechanics like placing and breaking blocks have been discussed by the community for quite a while. Recently, we got a clearer look at how this might work through a poll hosted in the Discord, where the developers asked players how they'd prefer the system to be handled. The poll had two main options. Option A suggested that all survivors would be able to place blocks that they find in chests. These blocks would be temporary and could be broken by a killer's basic attack or abilities. To keep things balanced, placing blocks would also have a cooldown, preventing players from spamming them endlessly. Option B proposed a more restricted system, where only certain survivors would be able to place blocks. In this version, blocks would mainly be obtained through specific abilities like mining to gather stone. This approach would make the mechanic more controlled and tied to particular characters, rather than being something everyone could do equally. When the poll ended, the results were actually almost evenly split, showing that the community liked both ideas for different reasons. Because of this, Zoters decided on a hybrid approach. Under this system, all survivors will be able to place blocks, but certain survivors will have abilities that allow them to gather blocks more consistently instead of relying only on random chest drops. This keeps the mechanic accessible to everyone while still giving certain characters a unique advantage and role within the team. Honestly, this feels like a really good way to handle it. It keeps the mechanic balanced, encourages teamwork, and still preserves that Minecraft-style gameplay that people expect from Blockbound. Anyways, that's all the Blockbound news for today. Remember to stay safe, and I'll catch you all in the next one.